Hey, it's Shapes, and welcome to another expedition of the Anime Encyclopedia. I got some friends over. They, roommates and stuff. They did this like shirt contest and things, so they're just chilling in our communal area. So if you hear commotion and things like that, that's what's going on. But it's not a big deal. I'm not gonna like ask them to quiet down or something. I'll just keep to myself. You let me know how the levels are doing. They sound okay. I think I'm weird that I'm just talking to myself. I'm like, what's he doing in there? They know I'm streaming, so I mean, whatever. Rest of F today, and I'm not going to go too over long because I'm hopefully going to be watching the Batman at like 9:55 at night. We're going to a late night showing, which is nice because there's not going to be as many people in there, and we'll have the right seats and things because everyone else is going to be crowded and stuff, so it's going to be nice. But yeah, so we're going through the rest of F section. Don't need to read any of the articles yet. There is a lot of articles in F for some reason, like the F section specifically, but gives me more material for later streams and things like that. I'm not going to go too crazy, but let me know how things are going, if everyone's doing well. I watched Metal Fighter Miku, and it's strikingly similar to Megalobox, and by extension Joe. Okay, that's neat. I don't know if I've heard that specifically about Miku. I've heard about Miku, but yeah. Hello, Hakaru. Hope you're doing well. Good to see you. I don't think I see you too often on these streams. It's good to see you. I'll wait a couple more minutes for people to pop in. Let me tweet that I'm live, as one does when they're live. Real quick. Weeb speak. I watched the Batman. Where am I at? We got that. Stream. Feature where competitors wear suits to enhance their abilities. Wrestling versus boxing. Drum coach. Oh, I gotcha. Nice. Cool. Well. I don't want to take too long with like waiting and stuff. Let's just get started then. I'm sorry if I've done too much to this. There were a lot of articles that were like big names, like Full Metal Alchemist, Full Metal Panic, Full Moon, a lot of fulls, and then some others like Future Bar Conan, but we read that earlier. But there wasn't anything super like hot, in terms of like weird statements. There's some things, but And again, this is just on a separate document because the other list is getting a little big, which is it's just to make it go faster for me to compile all this stuff. I actually finished reading this at 6:20, like 6:15 or something, very, very recently. So hopefully it's fresh enough that I can report it well enough. I watched your Lupin video last night. The A&B and beginning's amazing, dude. Thank you so much, Kexi. That's like the one part of that video that I was like unironically like, what if the rest of the video is shit? At least the AMV's good. I was actually really confident in it. That makes sense. I was actually coming off pretty hot on that some AMV songs. But yeah, the rest of it, I'm happy it works out. I got like this one compliment from Kyle Entertainment. I'm so sorry. I'm gonna mess the name up. But he does like these top video essays of the year and stuff, and he put me at #1 for the Lupin video, and I'm like, oh, I did not expect that. I was like, how? Like it was such a wide variety. It had like ContraPoints' Envy video at #2. I'm like, my video is better than that? Really? And then I get the specific where he's coming from with it, but yeah, that was cool. Anyway, it's past midnight where I live. I'm staying up late editing, so thanks for keeping me company. Oh, I'm happy to hear you're editing. That's cool. But yeah, I hope you enjoy the sound as you edit and stuff. I know that feeling. They ditched the suits by the end. A rival in a wheelchair by the end of the fight. Oh, maker of the suits is a daughter and son working in the business. There's a lot of parallels. That's interesting. Take your time with the Naruto video shapes. I'm only 20 chapters into the manga. I need to catch up so I don't get spoiled when you release it. You'll be fine. You'll finish it by the way before, unless you don't read it for a long time or whatever. This video, that video will not come out for a long time, if not maybe like a year, because we were just calculating like how long it's gonna be in my Patreon, my Discord, like Patreon Discord. And I was like, I just started rereading it like 2 nights ago. And I was like, so the first part's this many words, second part's this many words, third part's this many words. There's 9 parts. There's definitively 9 parts. And they're a little varying lengths, but at least one's each at least 10 minutes, if not 15 or something. But they're much longer. Part 6 is 40 minutes. At least roughly. This is just like based on how many words it is. I haven't recorded anything yet. I'm still trying to. I wrote a lot like in January, and now I'm trying to like revise and do some stuff. But right now I'm taking my time. I'm doing a big kind of deep dive into Shonen Jump's catalog from the 50s to the 70s to try to get an idea of what the magazine was like at the time, and kind of to try to really track the origin with like battle manga, because I'm talking about like battle shonen as a genre and the various tropes and aspects to it, and including Naruto in that, like from the perspective of Naruto basically. Didn't see that message you retracted, Greg. And the other message you retracted. Epic. Yeah. Anyway, sorry to delay everything. Flight of the White Wolf. They added, just to confuse matters, this movie appears to have later been released in the US under the title White Fang. I think White Fang is like an English novel. I guess it has nothing to do with it. Flower Angel. They include the name of the 1980 movie. They moved Fly Asami to... They changed the name of the title from Fly Asami to Soar High Asami. Okay. And then they also moved and changed Fly On Dreamers to Hit Hard Dreamers. And they added this blurb explaining why they translated it as Fly On at first, and then later changed it to Hit Hard. This is like about soccer or whatever, but they were like, this word could be a lot of different things for goal or do the thing or whatever. I was like, okay, I get it. I've been watching Sailor Moon in 1080p. It looks absolutely fantastic. One of the best looking anime I've ever seen. It's simply gorgeous. Yeah, I'm very looking forward to knowing Sato and his like having come off of Goldfish Warning. That's going to be very exciting, and just appreciating how incredible it looks. Although I am interested in watching it in good definition in HD like that. There's that situation with Viz in 2014 where they really botched the Blu-rays. I'm wondering if that's resolved, or if, I don't know. That's interesting. There was a lot of changes to Flying Ghost Ship of all things. It was really weird too, because a lot of this just was like really specific details, and it was like, did you see the movie the first time? Like not they get it completely wrong, but it was just like little weird details. It was like they got the main character's name wrong. Like maybe it's Hayato Atsuhito. Maybe that's the case. I don't know. But whatever. Yeah, they changed Boar Juice to Boa Juice, Restless Spirits to a Flying Ghost, Teenage Asuhito to 12-year-old Hayato. It's pretty striking. Kuroshaku to Kuroshi. And now we don't want to like go into like the nitpicks of misspellings and things. It just is what it, just something to note. As a giant robot lays, and then they change it to as Golem the giant lays, whatever. They added this further plot and like spoiled it in a way. Did I write that in spoilers? Flying Phantom Ship? I did not. Hold on. They add first anime to be dubbed in Russian. Okay, that's neat. Most endearing legacy is... Okay, what the hell is this? So has anyone seen Flying Phantom Ship? Where's the 3rd edition of this? I was like, what are you talking about? Like, why add that? I mean, I figure the thing it's going to be known for is having Hayao Miyazaki stuff in it. Oh, right. It's called Flying Ghost Ship, not Phantom Ship in the Encyclopedia. Where is it? Fuck. Okay. Okay. Flying... Yeah. Possibly, the film's most enduring legacy might be found elsewhere, since Hayato's faithful but cowardly dog is suspiciously similar to Scooby-Doo, an enduring icon that would first appear in America some 4 months later, although the designer Iwao Takamoto makes no mention of this connection in his memoirs. I mean, why would he? That's it. Let's look up the dog from Flying Phantom Ship and see if he looks like Scooby-Doo. He might, and that kind of sounds familiar. But we'll see. So I'm not reading the chat just yet. I'll do it as soon as I figure this out. Dog. I don't know. Maybe he shows up in one of the images. That? Is it the Doberman over there? Like that? You think that looks like Scooby-Doo? Am I... You... Do I really have to look up a fucking image of Scooby-Doo? Okay, Scooby-Doo... I mean, I guess, sure. Conspicuously like Scooby-Doo. Ah, you know, how 2 dogs seem to look alike because they're, even though I don't think these are, I'm not like a dog expert, but these are not the same species of dog. Like, I don't see it. I don't see it. It sucks that they can't fucking have bigger images. Like, why are they all so fucking small? Okay, that's something. But like, no. I've been watching, yeah. Have you seen Goldfish Warning? Yeah. I know Kinnikuman. I have seen Goldfish Warning for the record, Bob. I don't know if you're probably talking to Greg. I know Kinnikuman popularized most of the tropes common in shonen, but I'm curious if it took an inspiration from an even older series. Yeah, Kinnikuman and Rini Kakiro are very important, and they are the contributors to this. It's a whole thing. I don't want to get into it because it'll take most of the stream, because it was just all the research I did. I could go into it maybe if I have time at the end. But basically, I'm just double checking to see, and I am sort of revising my initial submission, basically, where like shonen is a combination of anything with like sci-fi, supernatural, fantasy. You take any subject you want, and it can be realistic, like cooks or manga authors, whatever, and you're gamifying it. You're adding the structure, hierarchies, power systems, skills of sports series, which were super big and popular at the time. So you're basically taking those 2 big chunks, but there is a little bit more to it. And I'm using Shonen Jump specifically, and I know there's other manga that are really important to this whole, contribute to this sort of thing, Ashina Joe included and stuff like that, but it would be way too much to try to look at all the weekly shonen magazines, like Magazine, Champion, Jump, Sunday, and King, with like the 5 big ones. Maybe there's other ones. Anyway, I'll try to, yeah. Anyway, this does not look like Scooby-Doo. I'm just saying. Let's go back. The notes. Moving on. Let me keep reading the chat, damn it. What are some Goldfish War references? I've seen that White Fang thing, I think, based on an American book. You seen it too, Greg? I know Goldfish Warning has 3 games, but that's about it. I haven't seen Goldfish Warning yet, but I recognize the character when Sailor Moon referenced them. I need to see it as soon as possible. Oh yeah, it's good. The movie was pretty cute and fun. Yeah, the movie is worth watching for sure. Scooby's a great Dane. How do you spell Raimi Kokoro? I don't know. I've also been watching You're Under Arrest. I've seen all the Cell animated stuff of the series, I think. It's 2001, which is probably DigiPaint, and 2007, which is Pop Digital. The You're Under Arrest OVA is the best part so far. Ring Kakiro, it's from the creator of Saint Seiya. Oh, yeah, sorry. Raimi Kokoro. Yeah, Ring Kakiro. Yeah, sorry about that. Hard to do with, saying it. Anyway, Boa Beer and Kushiro, they added this part that I guess there's some Flying Phantom Ship references in the Eva rebuilds. That's interesting. Didn't know that. They moved and changed Flying Shadow to Ninja Robots. You know, Ninja Robot, Tobigake, the thing that Discotech released. It's like a mecha, but ninjas. They changed like the title, but it's weird. I put this in the odd choices, like clear, and they added the asterisks too. So they're talking about the localization of this, and it was lost to time until Discotech was able to recover most of it. But they don't mention, they don't add anything extra about the localization, oddly enough. They usually do. I guess not all the time, but, you know. That was just a weird, the fact that they changed it, but then they didn't mention anything about the localization afterwards. Fruit basket to fruits basket. I know, not a big deal. They also added a detail about the curse, and they add how it later develops. They were just pretty quick and summary-ish for the first edition because it had, I don't think it had come out yet. It was 2001, but they do have it listed as an entry. And then the third edition, they do kind of give more detail about it's like, oh, this is what the curse actually does, and then it's like later on it actually gets kind of serious and does the ramifications of the curse and stuff like that. It's like, okay. They didn't give their opinion, though. Here's an interesting... I'm sorry to jump all over the place with this. Here's a thought that I had. How frequently do they give their opinions about obscure anime instead of the more popular anime, similar to Bennett becoming the dominant opinion of a particular obscurity? I'm noticing that a lot of the time they're giving their opinion, it's on something I've never... I know, I'm not trying to say I'm the bastard of I know everything or whatever, but oftentimes it's not a popular title they're giving their opinion about. They usually avoid it. They talk a fair deal about some of these, right? But they've avoided giving their, like, it's good, or or like, you know, their actual take on it. You can kind of surmise it in some places, the way they word things, like Fist of the North Star, for example, from last week. But usually they don't give their opinion. They withheld it for a lot of the popular stuff. It's really weird. But then they're giving their opinion on the stuff that they're not going to get as much flack for, maybe. Because not as many people have seen it. It's an interesting proposition. I'd have to look into all the times they give their opinion, and then also make it here's a list of all the shows that are super popular that they haven't given their opinion about. Fullmetal Alchemist, for example. Such and such. The You're Under Arrest movie feels like Pat Labor movie 2. Oh, you make me want to watch it, even though I'm not super big into Pat Labor movie 2. I respect that movie a lot. Now that's not that it's nearly as good though. Dude, I remember Collective Zero things that happened in Flying Phantom Ship. Yeah, it's a fun movie. It's a weird one. It's cool though, because it really is just like, what the fuck is this? It's a lot of it, and then. It's fun. Goldfish Warning shares the same director, which explains the similarities. Oh yeah, it's a lot of the same staff. It was Toei, and it's Sato and like a bunch of that staff, and they all moved over. I imagine it's the same art director too, but I could be wrong. But yeah, Junichi Sato, dude. Hell yeah. Goldfish Warning, pretty good. Fuku-chan, they added about what it's based on, like, oh, it's based on manga. I'm like, why wasn't that in the first edition? And then also previous cameos from the character. I guess the character shows up in some other things. I was in a bit of a rush when I added that because I was crunched for time. Fumoon, they added See Also Metropolis, which Fumoon is a distant sequel to. I did not know this. This is Fumoon is a Tezuka work. Yeah, and that was interesting, but they added that little blurb there. They were very opinionated about Clannad, which is a huge show. Oh yeah, I'm not saying they don't have opinions on something, but like frequently, by and large, they actually have an opinion on Fushigi Yugi, which we'll get to, which is pretty spicy. Like it's not that they're completely absent, but like broadly speaking, there's a lot of these titles that they've not given their opinion about, which is interesting. You'd think they'd give their opinion about it, maybe because they're long. But it sounds like they've seen it because they're talking about it in kind of constructive ways. Like, I don't know, in ways that it sounds like they've seen it. But they're not giving any concrete, like, it has good art or interesting characters. Like, something that shows it's their opinion, you know? It's weird. Fushigi Yugi, they added this little blurb about the 2001 4-part sequel. Future Cop Urashiman, they added that it was released in several language territories. And then Future War 1990X, they added that it was released in video in Australia. And see what I mean? Like, they add these little parts, but then they didn't actually add that to Ninja Robots? It was a little weird to me. There's some new additions, to my knowledge. Again, I could just find these later somehow. I looked through the back tried to find it with the Japanese name, couldn't find it, so. Alright, Flying Machine Hiryu, Flying Fish is Taken Ill, 1982, and Freckles Pooch, 1969. Yeah. Positive opinion. So they were positive on Flowers of Evil. It's an original manga already. The original manga is already a masterpiece of sadistic tension, and the rotoscoping ups the effect. They actually really got me to want to watch it. Like, I had never actually read the synopsis for Flowers of Evil, and it does sound really crazy and weird and interesting. And then them liking it was cool. I watched a dozen or so episodes of Fushigi Yugi forever ago. I want to get back to it. I was interested in it, and then their opinion is something else. They got a bone to pick with that one. Fly, you can see it probably right here, actually. Anyway, Fly Peak, beautiful settings and charmingly retro-style designs, high quality. Now, something about Peak the Whale, which was kind of interesting. I hate to keep bouncing back and forth. I'll save it for odd choices, so I don't have to compartmentalize. Compartmentalize is easier for the VOD. Forest Warrior Bonalon, sweet, sincere short series for children. Okay. Four Leaf Clover, it's prettily animated, very lightweight harem anime. All right. Freedom, Akunohana is top 10, baby. Oh yeah, yeah, Sudi, good to see you. Yeah, I've heard very good. I really like Mushishi from the same director, and then that director is also directing Uzumaki. That's coming out soon. So like, I am stoked for Uzumaki, and I think I would like Akunohana. I know it's kind of divisive. Like I've seen some people not like it, but I think it's just anime fans that are just like, ew, rotoscoping. I think I'll like it, especially if like I like rotoscope as a fan of Ongaku R sound. So, Freedom, class act, well designed and animated, money well spent. They say money well spent because it's a commercial. It was actually like a string of commercials and stuff. But it has like a Otomo attached to it. Like this guy like Otomo designs, I think. It's cool. From Up on Poppy Hill. This is definitely one of those. Of course, because of the Ghibli film, they have the huge essay about it, and they talk a lot about it, and it's actually a pretty good essay. It has some good insight about like I didn't actually fully realize that Hayao Miyazaki did write the movie, and his son directed it. So it actually makes sense where it's like it takes place in 1963, and Miyazaki had it was like a really formative year for him. Because I think that it was around that time or that year when he left university to go pursue animation, and 1963 was also the year that Astro Boy came out, which was a big deal. So it's like cool to see it from that lens and stuff like, and him writing it from his words. So I definitely have to rewatch Poppy Hill with that perspective. Flowers of Evil's great, awesome directing, really ups the tension. So hyped for Uzumaki. Oh yeah. Yeah, so they liked it, though. It was a charming, moving vision. It's not a great Ghibli movie or a great Hayao Miyazaki movie, but the best Goro Miyazaki has given us to date. Which, at the time of the Encyclopedia, was only 2 movies. Earthsea and this. So it's like, not much of a contest there. From what I've heard, I've not seen Earthsea yet. Because I don't hear anything good about it, ever. Fujilog. Sazae-san, it isn't. But none the worse for that. A wry, funny shot of CGI irreverence. Alright. Full Metal Panic they liked. It was one of the best of its year. And I think they said, like, despite the overwhelming cliches or something like that. But that's pretty high praise. I give it a positive. What's going on with Uzumaki? Adult Swim was announced 2 years ago. Yeah, it's delayed. It was just... They're just, pandemic. But also, like, they can take as much time as they want with it because it's very irregular. I don't know. I think they said like 4. I don't remember where I heard this, but like 4-hour-long episodes or something like that. I might be wrong, but like it was something along those lines. Poppy Hill's top 3 Miyazaki movie. Nice. Fuse. Gleefully subversive text with abyssal depths beneath its seemingly shallow surface. They have a good amount to say of that one too. They just seem to have a lot more to say about movies because they've seen them, Yeah, but I wish they would say what caused the delay. They just give vague answers. I get it. It's hard to fully explain. Like, you don't want to go into the details of certain things. Like you'll like with Discotheque, it's important for us to not fully disclose when something's coming out, like Gunbuster, for example, because that's still being worked on, and it's like. You don't want to give. It's important to not be too transparent. I can understand because it's like things can just happen last minute, things we weren't expecting, or it's difficult. It's more difficult than we realize, and chaos. It can happen sometimes. When you respect what these are creative endeavors. Not to say Discotheque is a wholly creative endeavor, but it's kind of similar when it comes to like media, I guess. On the other hand, I'm enjoying the Shenmue anime. Yeah, that's good. If the new episodes are an hour each, then they can take all the time they want. Exactly, that's what I figure. I don't know if that's the case, but I remember, I thought I remember hearing that in one of like the interviews or a tweet or something like that from the account. I don't remember. Future Diary they were positive about. That was surprising. Plot packed with twists, design palette support premise well, interesting lighting and tonal shifts that can warp into something truly quite terrifying. They seem pretty positive about that. I was like, okay, cool, interesting. All right, here's what they're negative about. From Up on Poppy Hill was the best of Goro's stuff by far, but it's just all right. Hot take: it should have committed to the taboo romance because what's the point otherwise? Yeah, whatever. Is what it is. Floating material. When a company named after food makes games devoted to sex, there's likely to be altogether too much oral gratification and not a great deal of nutritional content. I don't really know what they were saying with I took that as like, oh, I guess that this thing's negative. I guess that's negative, but I think they're just kind of talking as a whole. I don't know. Flower and Snake the animation. You could watch a movie in the time it takes to see this. Just saying. It's a porn. It's like a 3-episode, 20 minutes each porn, and they're like, oh, it's an hour. You could watch a movie in that time. No? Okay. And like, this is interesting because it's like, I think this is the 3rd edition. Yeah. This is like 2015 in the advent of YouTube, and here we are like watching hour-long videos and shit like that. You know, you could watch a movie in that time. Okay. Anyway, phobia. Let people enjoy what they want, is what I would say. Attempts are somewhat stillborn. Time and cast limited. Setting underused. Flashback overuse obviously to save money. I should probably also include like, also Control F save money. Surmission. I don't know if surmission's really a word. I think, you know, surmising that they were perpetuating this like budget idea, the anime budget. Wow, they just wanted to make a joke. Yeah, I guess. At the very least, Shenmue's far better than both Fena and that Blade Runner thing. Those aren't very high bars to clear. Rip. Phobia, yeah. Fukubiki triangle, making the sex the least objectionable part. They say that because the premise or plot of the whole thing is that, like, I guess one girl got super traumatized by a car accident or something, and then her boyfriend, because I guess she's depressed or something, just winds up having sex with her sister, I think. Something like that. And it's like, oh, that's so awful. And it's like, the sex is the least objectionable part. It's like, okay. Damn. Like, it sounds that they didn't like it, right? When you put those sorts of statements in alongside the synopsis, it's like, all right, they clearly don't like it, you know? Fushigi Yugi. Boy, they had a bone to pick with this one. They don't see the appeal, huh? It's so weird, too. Let me actually make this one about Fushigi Yugi for a second. What was the thing that was weird about it? I wrote something down. Yeah. They say it was swamped by the later success of the superior Escaflowne, making Fushigi Yugi look like a lackluster copy? I've never heard that. Maybe I'm not like in those spaces. I've heard nothing but good things about Fushigi Yugi. You know, like, it's popular. It's like it's a good, you know, people like it. But like, they were really not into it. Like, it's like, it clearly struck a chord with audiences too young to remember Neverending Story or Wizard of Oz. What kid has not heard of Wizard of Oz? At least in this time period they're talking about. Like, this is from 2001. At that time, like, Wizard of Oz is still kind of a well-known property. The kids probably, I saw it when I was a kid. Are you just, what the fuck does that mean? It's so insulting to, like, the fans, which was weird. Like, they usually don't do that. They don't go that far with their negative opinions, right? Irritating heroine, cheap. Let me read the whole thing. Like, it really came off like a real takedown, you know, like a review and like something you'd read on like an internet forum trying to be edgy about Fushigi Yugi. Like something the Snob would write, you know what I mean? Fushigi Yugi. There we go. Though Yu Watase's original manga in Flower magazine dated back to 1992, Fushigi Yugi was swamped by the later success of the superior Escaflowne, making Fushigi Yugi look like a lackluster copy. The anime's problems include an intensely irritating heroine, Miyaka, with all the charm of a spoiled child, conspicuously cheap animation that often has to resort to static pans, and a forgettable plot assembled from off-the-peg cliches. This writing's cliche. I'm sick. Like, okay. Yep. The Emperor Hotohori falls in love with Miyaka, but she loves Tamahome, a predictable love triangle which causes a fallout with her friend Yui. Nevertheless, Fushigi Yugi clearly struck a chord with an audience too young to remember The Neverending Story or The Wizard of Oz, and the series gained an enthusiastic fan following in both Japan and the US. Then why do you say that it's like it was swamped by the later success of the superior Escaflowne? What does that mean then? I don't know what they're talking about. The second season changes slightly, blah blah blah, a little bit of spoilers. Yeah. That's kind of the extent of their like real negativity there. It was just like, oh, okay, sheesh. So they don't, there's some series that are popular that they'll go after. There's a lot that they don't, which is interesting and strange to me. The very I love Blade Runner, and the CG anime has me brokenhearted. Rip. I would not say Fushigi Yugi and Escaflowne have much in common in terms of appeal. I kind of see it. Female protagonist in an isekai. Like, I kind of get it, but I didn't even make that connection until they did. It was like, oh yeah, it did come out relatively, I think they came out the same year, and then girl isekai. Yeah, sure. But like, so was Ray Earth. Like, when did Ray Earth come out? Fucking... Ray Earth... OVA was in 97! Magic Knight Wraith was also in 1997. Okay, no, the TV series was 94. TV series was 94 to 95, so it does predate it, at least. But, like, still, it's like, what? Couldn't be me. I know. Not that I've seen it, but, like, I don't know. The Watanabe short is a million times better than whatever the CG thing was trying to be. Bet you young casuals have never seen the Wizard of Oz masterclass. Irritating heroine. Oh no, don't let them watch 12 Kingdoms. Oh sheesh. I wonder what they say about it. Do you remember they were negative on Arata Kangatari? Same author. Really? Interesting. No, I don't remember that. No, there's a lot here. Probably, yeah. It's like they said these are both isekai that star females, so they must be the same. Might as well say Inuyasha is the same thing. I know. I guess. Inuyasha was also 97, wasn't it? Hold on. When did Inuyasha come out? Oh, wow. Way later than I thought. 2000. Never mind. I mean, the manga was around that time, but anyway. Yeah, so that was weird. Anyway, tell Mr. Wolf that Duncan lives at. Mixed opinions. Flowering youth. Unfortunately, Pierrot aren't working the top of their game. They're making this fail to fulfill its promise. So they kind of let it down in the visual department. But they seem to like it otherwise, I guess. Foreign Love Affair. Follows manga closely, but animation is no better than adequate. Okay. Very lukewarm. Not swaying one of the... Okay. Fortune Quest. Hardly anything new, but it paved the way for Pokemon. I had not heard of Fortune Quest, and this did make me interested in checking it out, although the synopsis doesn't sound like Pokemon to me. That's just me, though. Fractale. Animation, script, music, and concept all make for a charming package, and then it stops with plot threads unwoven and questions unanswered. So they're just like, it's 11 episodes. Damn. Okay, yeah, I guess that's fair. Side note, 12 Kingdoms is probably the second best anime show Aikawa has written next to FMA 03. Yeah, I'm looking forward to that one. I don't think I knew that he was a part of that one. Did is that Shoei Kawa who did Neoranga? I think so. I don't remember. That one was alright. I don't know if I liked it more for the writing per se, but I liked the show. Random thought. Do they have one entry for Lupin or different ones for all the different parts in the movies? So, I'm pretty sure I've already confirmed this, but usually when they have a franchise, it's all going to be in one entry. So there's Lupin the Third. But they have a separate entry for Castle of Cagliostro. Because it's a Miyazaki movie, I guess. Or they had a lot to say about it, and that would have bloated the Lupin entry even more. Or something. I don't know. But that one, Cagliostro has its own entry, but Lupin, the rest of it's all in one entry. It's a long one, of course. Again, it's one of those things like City Hunter or Gundam, where they're not going to give their opinion, and they're just going to bloat the whole thing by listing every OVA and like special and like side thing that came out of it. That's it. Some interesting. I've read the Lupin entry actually, and there's some interesting trivia and stuff like the localization history with it. With like they'd call him Wolf because the Lupin, the Arsène Lupin, hadn't gone to the public domain yet. Didn't the director of Fractale quit the industry after the poor reception to it? Dude staked his career on it or something. Yeah, something like that. Oh well. They don't mention that though in the although they do mention something that's really interesting about Fractale. I'll get to it later. I did not know about this though. Freezing. Same old ideas dressed in new and skimpier outfits. Slam bang action that gives its unique appeal. So like, yeah, I guess it's like not their opinion per se, but it's like them mentioning it, right? Made it come out as like, this is why people like it. I prefer that over this is the appeal, this is what would be interesting about it, instead of being like, oh, it's bad. Being like the character's irritating, it's cheap animation, blah blah blah. It's like, okay. Also cheap animation, it's got Yoshinori Kaneda on the OP. Cheap. Not to say he specifically isn't cheap, I'm just saying like it's cheap implies that it's bad, right? Yeah, he literally said it would be better than Madoka and publicly insulted Gen Urobuchi. He quit the industry after getting a taste of humble pie. Rip. Ripperoonie. I think it was also, he was having some, like, quarrels with the original manga, too. Not, that's hard to compete with Madoka, which is a original project, to my knowledge. I'm pretty sure it's original. And so they can do whatever they want with it and have a conclusive ending. Whereas Fractale, yeah, sorry, bud, no dice there. Yeah, and then Full Moon Oshigashite. I'm happy they didn't have a shitty take on it, I guess, but it didn't seem wholly positive to me. It isn't new in such and such ways, because they were listing all of these things that I was like, oh, it's like this show, and 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 like that. It was so media poisoned, and I'm like, gosh, I thought of like the Idol thing, like, yeah, it's like a magical girl show, and I guess that's kind of like that, but they were talking about like, oh, this is like all those shows where the girl has a time limit, and it's like this other thing, it's like this other thing, it's like, ugh. But it could have been another thoroughly depressing show. But the Shinigamis provide comic relief, and Mitsuki's determination keeps the tone upbeat. Which is true, and I don't know how much this is really an opinion. But, like, I don't know, the tone of it made it be like... They didn't seem to wholly like it or dislike, but I don't know, there was something about that one. That's gotta be the fattest L I've ever heard. Yamakon's funny. Madoka has a conclusive ending, think emoji. Oh, okay, while we're talking about Fractale, I guess we'll mention this. Where is it? Fractale. So let me read the entry. Not the whole entry, but their wording of this. It's so funny. In hindsight, right? It's like, wow, this is what they were dealing with at first. It's about like one of the first instances of simulcasting, which is like obviously like the most common practice on Earth now. Where is it? Okay. A TV series that runs for 11 episodes isn't usually considered the success of the year in any medium. Again, it's their idea that, like, number of episodes equals success. Which is partly true, but not entirely. Because it's like, what if you just want to make 11 episodes of something? You know what I mean? They should be allowed to do that. Fractale was attractive enough to win over the hard-headed buyers at Funimation, although controversy dogged its US simulcast debut in 2011, with the Japanese owners putting it on US hiatus after just one episode, initially claiming that they would not release further episodes until Funimation could end piracy on the internet. A Herculean requirement that was soon discreetly revoked. So, like, they refused to give them more episodes. They're like, hey, people are pirating your episode, the first episode. Stop that. You should stop that, but then we'll give you more episodes. And Funimation's like, I can't do that. And they're like, oh, okay, to give you more. They gave him more episodes. I guess that's what happened. Holy shit. That's so crazy. Can you imagine if that happened now? Wow. Not to endorse piracy in any way. It's just sort of like, wow, they really can't do... They tried to do something about it. They couldn't do anything. That's really too bad. And yet Madoka Rebellion comes in and says, no conclusive ending for you. Glad we're finally getting a sequel. I didn't know Rebellion left on a note like that. I knew that the original TV series has a good ending, and I thought like the 3 was just an alternate ending. Holy shit. Blame the director for that. Gen wrote a conclusive ending, but Shimbo wanted to make it a franchise. Interesting. Wasn't Fractale a Noitamina show? Those were 11 episodes and good. Yeah. Oh, exactly. It's like, fuck you. A show can be 11 episodes if it wants to be. Stop the stealing. yeah, basically. Oh my gosh. It was something else. I was like, wow, that's crazy. No. Okay. Yeah, that's crazy. Alright, and then Future Card Buddy Fight. Entirely derivative setting and plot, but the means of distribution might make it one for a whole new generation of innovators. In terms of, like, they put the whole thing on YouTube. They released it on YouTube. Hey, which I remember that. Not like when it happened, but I remember seeing episodes of anime, and I'm pretty sure it was Future Card Buddy Fight. Like, I don't know, Future Card Buddy Fight, I think. And there was full episodes of the show, and they're just like an ad on YouTube or something promoting it, and it's like, oh, okay. I guess it works for some things. Spoilers! So they spoil a flowering youth. It ends with blah, 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 blah. They spoil a bit of flying phantom ship. And then I put this note here saying I should probably not even bother listing all the porn in the spoiler section, because I think they give it away most of the time. Because you think about it, they describe the entire plot. And you look at every time I do this, when they're like, oh, this is a lot of plot, I look at the amount of how long the thing is, and if it's like 20 minutes, 30 minutes, it's like, oh, you're just telling me everything, right? Okay. And that happens with pretty much every porn. So it's like, and also spoilers for porn, not to belittle it or in that way, but it's like, is that really, I mean, you kind of want to know the whole arc of the story, right? I don't know, unless it's like a longer thing with like plot twists and stuff. Sorry to dismiss porn like that. Full Metal Alchemist, they do spoil the end of 03 because they're talking about like Shambhala, but even before they describe Shambhala's plot, they don't even, they just talk about the end of 03 basically. Frankenstein, they kind of give something of an ending, and I'm like, I guess that makes sense. It's an old story, so it's like, yeah, sure. Free Kick for Tomorrow, they do disclose the ending, even though they said it was open-ended, but they describe it in detail what it is. I'm like, oh, great. Full Moon, they seem to give away the ending. It seems like they kind of give the whole parable away, but maybe I'm wrong. And then Fushigi Yugi, they do mention that there's a death in the second season, but they don't really specify who, so that's fine, I guess, but still a little bit of a spoiler. Okay. Kind of powering through this in 45 minutes or something, but that's okay. Hope you guys having a good time. If we have a bunch of time at the end, I'll just gush about the research I did for Shonen Jump and stuff. Okay, some odd choices. Fortune Arterial, but it's a work of marginal interest to others besides fans, with nothing to distinguish it from other prettily designed lightweight bits of fluff. Why did I have a problem with that? I forget why I had a problem with that. Hold on, I'm sorry. I need to read the whole thing. Not the whole thing, but like, you know what I mean. I guess it's not that big of a deal. It's just a bit of snark, I suppose, because they're talking about the work is this art books and music CDs also embedded the franchise further into fans' consciousness, but it's a work of marginal interest to others. So they're kind of othering fans from like who everybody else, I guess, with nothing to distinguish it, the show, I suppose, from other prettily designed lightweight bits of fluff. Yeah, I don't know. I guess it rubbed me the wrong way. It's not that big of a deal, though. I think it's like any slight thing. I'm a bit of a pack rat with this sort of thing. If it has the slightest indication, I'll include it, right? But obviously, this will go down to trimming, and I'll pick up the best possible pieces, right, for the inevitable project at the end, you know? Another VN adaptation they hate on. Oh, yeah. I'd be surprised. I'd be interested in any of them that they did like. I could put that as a thought, with like kind of the recurring themes, like a lot of general VN hate. Titles they like, chance, and Moe, of course. You know. Just in case. Again, I'm a pack rat. Like, little bit. I don't want to forget it. Francesca. One wonders what manner of brainstorming meeting identified the need to lure people to Hokkaido by suggesting it was the haunted domain of a lace-clad, big-chested, one-eyed, undead crime fighter. But then, somebody greenlit Kata's story. That just came off to me as the general dismissal of, like, animes are just so weird. Whose idea was this? And it's like, I mean, it's just a fun time, you know what I mean? Let me look up Francesca real quick. I think I did a little look up earlier. Like, oh, come on. Like, why be cynical about something like this? Like, I get it's not very well rated. Like, okay. It's fair, I suppose. 5 out of 10. But it's like, I don't know, let people kind of enjoy things. That looks kind of like a wacky time. You know what I mean? I don't know. I just thought the attitude was a little annoying. Maybe being a bit of a cop, hard ass with them, maybe. Freezing. Once again, only high school girls can save the world. Again, that's the very rare instance of like snark in the synopsis. Like when they're describing what the show is, they're giving that little like, once again, you know, it's like just say what it is. You know what I mean? Give each show, give each anime the attention and respect that they deserve. Even if you don't like them. Is what I would want. I think you have some, you know. There's a couple series where they like that. They say this one thing. It's a bit of a nitpick. For Fullmetal Alchemist, Colonel Mustang, known for, and he's known as the Flame, he's known as the Flame Alchemist because he's known for his skill with fire magic. Isn't it fire? I hate to be specific, maybe actually, and be like a big super fan of FMA or something. I'm not really a big fan of it, but like, isn't it alchemy? And like a kind of a theme of the show is science, right? And like there's no magic here. It's all actual science. It's its own fantasy kind of science, right? But it's but it's not magic. Like I'm pretty sure what he does is like he sparks it from his glove, and he just has like the transmutation circle on his hand, and that's how he does it. That's not magic per se, right? That was a little weird to me. Again, a bit of a nitpick though. A completely respectable 5. Gentleman's 5. Yeah, yeah. For Mal, that's awful, but you're right. Like, it's for the people who like I've actually seen it, it's like, yeah, it's a 5. Flame alchemy. Right. I figured that. Edward is... This was a weird statement. Like, what do you mean? Edward is like a magical girl whose transformation has gotten out of hand without the help of a guiding angel or animal. I've never heard that. I guess it's interesting for a new perspective. But like, what do you mean? Let me read the whole thing, just so they're like, you're taking it out of context. I think I kind of get it in a way, but like it does point out kind of an interesting idea, right? Where like the main character has their like a shonen anime, in like a battle shonen similar to I think Fullmetal Alchemist would count as a battle shonen, right? In a series like that, it's interesting that the main character has the powers and he goes way too far with them, and he like right at the beginning, you know, and he kind of screws himself. That is very unique and distinctive. But it's weird to then draw that to like, oh, it's as if magical girls had too much power. It's like, I feel like we're drawing to the wrong thing here, you know? I was like, that's a kind of a weird way to put it. Where is it? Yeah. Edward is like a magical girl whose transformation has gotten seriously out of hand. Without the help of a guiding angel or animal, he's overreached himself and now has to try and retrieve normal life. It's like, I see what they're coming from. But also what I was noticing as I was reading that the second time, it's like without the help of a guiding animal or angel, how often do those in Magical Girl series, how often are they the ones that are like, hey, Sakura, you can't do that. Like Kara doesn't really, he does things, but he doesn't have such a, he's not like the moral center for Sakura or something. Like, he's not like the wise sage is like, don't do that, Sakura. Like, sometimes, I guess. But, like, not like in a way that they're describing. It's like, oh, if only Edward had... I don't know the cat's name from Sailor... I haven't seen Sailor Moon yet. But, like, the cat from Sailor Moon. It's like, oh, if only Edward had an equivalent to that. No, I don't think you understand. They clearly have a much, if any, of FMA. Magical Girl transformation to an amputated kid trying to get his warped brother's body back? Well, yeah, the fact that like it was his fault that he tried to do the thing with the human transmutation. That's his bad. Like, he used his powers and he screwed himself, and now he's trying to fix it. I kind of get that. It would be like, oh, if a magical girl, she gets the transformation and then she wrecks the whole city because she doesn't know the extent of her powers, and then the rest of the story is trying to fix that city. That's a cool premise. That's kind of something I don't think has really been done. But, like, again, I don't think it's the right thing to draw to. I think it would be interesting if you would say, it would be like Goku having his powers, and then at the very beginning, he destroys the whole whatever. He just destroys the whole city. Like, I mean, it's spoilers, technically. Like, later on, you find out about Goku's giant ape transformation and the tragic thing that he did while being in that transformation. He had no idea about it. There's something to that effect. But usually when a main character in a shonen battle shonen has powers, they don't really fuck up that early with those powers, the same way that Edward does, which I think is interesting. But yeah, again, like drawing it to Sailor Moon to like Magical Girls was weird to me. I don't see the Magical Girl connection. Like, what? He's a magical girl because he can use magic? Yeah, because he has powers, I guess. I think they believe Edward transforms to use his alchemy powers, which he doesn't. They're part of him due to a failed attempt to bring back his and his brother's mother. The cat from Sailor Moon is Luna. Okay, thank you. Yeah, I think that's where yeah, that's a good point. That they maybe they think that's a thing he puts on or something. It was a bit of a weird oversight to not cite another shonen manga instead of the one that he comes from. Anyway, here's another one that was like, huh? In terms of the in terms of the connection here. And this adaptation of Hiromu Arakawa's manga catches that Okay, let me read the whole thing. The Age of Steam was a time of dark and wonderful magic for those driving it. And this adaptation of Hiromu Arakawa's manga catches that atmosphere before turning in its later chapters to chills that foreshadow monster. To chills that foreshadow before turning its later chapters to chills that foreshadow monster. And the reason they do, I gotta cite 03 again, because I think they might think that like 03's ending is actually manga canon with the whole Germany thing. I think they might actually think that, because they say in the summary from Fullmetal Alchemist, in a surprise, this is the spoiler for FMA 03, by the way. I'm sorry I'm spoiling this, but it makes sense of why they're citing monster specifically. In a surprise twist, they are reunited with their father, but become embroiled in the rise of Nazism, and Edward himself is transported to a terrifying other world, our own. It become embroiled in the rise of Nazism, like in the fantasy world? In that context, before going to the other, like, yes, there are Nazis in that like Germany era in Conqueror of Shambhala, but they don't get to that until. But like, you know what I mean? They were like, they are reunited with their father, but become embroiled in the rise of Nazism, and Edward himself is they like Nazism, and they don't say and then, but and Edward himself is transported to a terrified. So it makes it seem like. First, they're dealing with the rise of Nazism, and then Edward gets teleported. And I'm like, I don't think that's quite what happened. But then that's why they're talking about like, it's turning in later chapters to chills that foreshadow Monster, because Monster takes place after the fall of the wall in Germany, and there is some Nazism, things with the antagonists. I think that's where that's coming from, but it's like. Wait, what? You know? Your description of a magical girl show feels like it could be a lost episode of XL Saga. Oh, yeah, that would be good. Transformation gone out of control, aka trying to revive his dead mother via actively breaking taboo. Kind of underselling the stakes here. Yeah. What the fuck could they possibly mean by this? As much as I love 03, the ending gets really weird. I kind of like it. I kind of like the ending to 03, actually. I found that maybe I have to rewatch it, but the Broho ending just kind of felt standard, like fine, like okay, you know, like I liked the actual meaty kind of like oh shit, what the fuck, and kind of like really cool and memorable ending, even though it does have some really whack shit in it. Like I get it with the fucking robot guy, that was dumb. Yeah, I get that, but I don't know. I liked it better than Broho personally. Let me get some more of my yogurt, my drinkable yogurt. Before it gets too warm and yucky. Okay, and this is the last one. Last one for Fulfillment Alchemist. Let me read the whole paragraph. This, however, might have presented a chronological end, Shambhala, but was far away from being the end of the franchise. An all-new team, directed by Yasuhiro Irie, would reboot the franchise as Fullmetal Alchemist Brotherhood, arguing, as with their colleagues on Hellsing, that this new version adhered more closely to the original manga. As in, yes, it did. I think that maybe you can be making the argument that, like, they watched Brotherhood and were like, wait, this isn't... No. Because, yes, I'm pretty sure Fullmetal Alchemist 03 is closer to the is closer of an adaptation of the manga than Brotherhood in the first chunk. Like, that first 12 to 13 episodes of Brotherhood are much more condensed. The first episode's completely original. They cut a couple things out, right? Like Mustang's introduction, because they're kind of assuming that people have seen 03, and then are just kind of, it's a very transparent remake in that way. But that's weird that they say that, like, arguing. No, it's not an argument. I don't think anyone's made the argument that, like, 03 is more faithful. It's not. It completely deviates from the manga at one point and becomes its own thing entirely. And then am I wrong? You're now questioning my sanity. Like, that's... I haven't read the manga, so I guess maybe I'm wrong? That's not what I've heard. Anyway. Weird. Okay. So, yeah, Fly Peak the Whale. Slight thing. Maybe a little mean on my end, perhaps. Or conspiratorial. It did make me think, though. Based on how I've been reading a lot of this book, so far, at least in the 3rd edition, I've read over 1,000 pages of this book. At least according to the digital version. According to this version, this, first edition here, I've read through F, which is only 131 pages. Not that many, all things considered, right? It's like, that much. But 3rd edition does have a lot more, of course. But from my perspective, there's a lot of that media poisoned. It's a rip off of this thing. It's capitalizing on this other property. It's the, and yes, media does that, of course, because it's a profit-driven industry. You can't just make this shit for fun. You do have to turn a price so that you can make more of it, right? And so there's this this sentiment they gave about Peak the Whale. If you're not familiar with Fly Peak the Whale, it's very similar to it's 2 kids. They find a whale in like a stray whale basically, and they nursing it back to health or whatever, and then it gets taken away to a carnival, and then they free it. It's Free Willy. But they say, based on an original story by Hidehito Hara and predating the 1993 Hollywood movie Free Willy. Beautiful settings and charmingly retro-style character designs combined in a high-quality children's film that was badly served in the UK market, where distributors only released a subtitled print. I agree. I've seen Peak the Whale. It's a very good movie. I'm happy they liked it. But it makes me wonder. They praise Peak the Whale for beautiful settings and charmingly retro-styled character design. If this came out after Free Willy, what would their attitude have been? What do you think? You know what I mean? It makes me think that. Based on what I've been reading, where it's so much, you hear all the time that it's a rip-off, pastiche, fucking capitalizing on this other thing, like whatever. I get media influences other media and stuff, and that's really important and good to talk about. I love that shit. But in a constructive, like, uplifting way. Not like in a cynical... You know what I mean? Like, I would be worried if this came out after Free Willy, that would have it's clearly a pastiche of Free Willy. See, Free Willy? You know what I mean? I would be worried if they had that attitude. Hey, let me know if I'm wrong to think that. Just makes sense. Even at his best, Aikawa never really knew how to end the series. Yeah, fair. L3 is closer to the manga in the first chunk, but also rearranges some things in a good way. Okay. I remember dropping Broho because I hated the early episodes. I'm so glad I gave it a second chance because I picked up immediately after that. Yeah. I gotta watch your Kiki video. Love Kiki. Favorite movie ever. Hell yeah. Oh, I know what you mean. Yeah, okay. I'm not crazy. That's just me. But maybe I'm being too speculatory or rude in that regard of thinking poorly of them in that way. Fly Pegasus. This is an interesting one. Fly Pegasus. Let me read you the entire synopsis. I'm actually right here. Perfect. A high school for blind children fields a soccer team using a ball that emits a noise so it can be located. The potential for accidental fouls is mind-boggling, but only in anime could you find such a bizarre combination of Helen Keller and Captain Tsubasa. So I think this is another outrageous instance of like them trying to connect 2 other anime to this article for people to hop to other series. But like, so I just found that kind of outrageous. and I wanted to look deeper into it. First of all, this is not an easy film to find. I couldn't find a single clip. Or never mind an upload of it, right? I could find screenshots, and I could find some covers, and I could find some synopses that, at least in those instances, and I'm pretty sure I found a Google search, and I don't want to, I guess I should. I should just recreate the search that I did, basically. This is what I did. So, I'm going to look up, I have to do fucking, sorry. No. Tobe Pegasus. I did look up, I did see some of it. Okay, slide. Yeah. Okay, so it's this one. Let me get the Japanese for this. Oh, great. It's in Japanese. Okay. So there's the full cover for it. Some front and the back for that, too. I'd have to find it specifically. I remember seeing a picture of an... Oh, there it is. Okay, so, okay. See this? See that guy right there? Let me get another screen cap of him. Try to find a better visual for him. Basically, it's like a, character that... Trying to find... I think there was one that, like, if I did the Google search, you could get a couple screen caps. No. You can see the purple links that I looked up a couple of these. Trying to find the one that had a bunch of screen caps of it. No. So this is one that the first thing I read, actually. This would be good to read here. Visually impaired children, which was featured on TV and newspapers in the 90s. This is based on a true fucking story. And so I'm going to repeat with, like, only in anime could you find such a bizarre combination of Helen Keller and Captain Tsubasa. It's based on a real event. Like, how insulting do you have to be? Well, not insulting, but just kind of insensitive, right? Like, oh, they didn't know. Because clearly they didn't look enough into this. Granted, I'm not going to hold it against them for me having Google. You know? This was an article that was written in the 2001 edition that they didn't change at all in the 3rd edition. Because I guess they assumed that, nothing should have changed from that, and no one mentioned it because this thing is the most obscure fucking thing ever. But, like, the reason the thing here, right? That character right there, like, you seeing that? Like, I'm pretty sure that's what they're talking about. Does this have other screen caps? There we go, that's what I mean. Yeah, so here's some other screen caps of that. You know what I mean? And funny enough, if you go back to the synopsis here, children with visual impairments spend most of their days in the dormitory of Chiba Professional School for the Blind. Shinoda, a teacher, is assigned for this school, but the children do not open their hearts easily. There, Shinoda learned that the children were crazy about the TV show Captain Tsubasa. They actually watch Captain Tsubasa in the fucking anime. So here it is, and it's like, yeah, no, the kids are just watching Captain Tsubasa, dude. And they're credited for it. So it's like, there's so much more interesting things about this. And then they're just going to kind of like, Helen Keller. And it's like, wait a minute. Helen Keller was the other thing. Helen Keller is like blind and deaf. But in this description that you're talking about, they're using a ball that emits a noise so it can be located. And like the comedical image of Helen Keller and Captain Tsubasa is not accurate to the description you're giving. Because they can hear the beeps and stuff. It's like, what the fuck? What the heck? How is this book published? Oh my god. Very weird thing to say when one of those two things is an anime. No, two of like Captain Tsubasa and Helen Keller is, Helen Keller was adapted into an anime type of thing. Like only in anime can you find this bizarre cross of blank and blank. Yeah. It was 2001. There were less standards for anime books back then. So the logic is soccer equals Captain Tsubasa. Oh, of course, because tennis is aim for the ace, of course. Makes me think of Chihiro Furu, where the manga is starting to highlight a character legend for the blind, a character league for the blind. Oh, cool. To be fair, Katakun was also vaguely based on real events. That is interesting. That is a good parallel, actually. No, wait a minute. They don't mention Katakun in Fly Pegasus. Their Fly Pegasus article. You'll think of something else. They mention Captain Kata in another one. Where is it? Up here for Francesca. Francesca, they're like, oh, then somebody cut Green Light story, which was based on real events. But they don't mention that this is based on real events at all. They just say a high school for the blind children fields a soccer team using a ball. The potential for accidental fouls is mind-boggling. Oh yeah, totally the Captain Tsubasa comment. Totally not the Helen Keller mention. Also seems insensitive to immediately jump from visually impaired to Helen Keller. Exactly. You look at this. You look at the covers here. The screen cap. Where are the screen caps I just had? Crap. Yeah. So like, they're visually impaired. There's some of them that are not completely blind. Some of them are. I haven't seen it. I tried my damnedest to find footage of it, but I couldn't. Like visually impaired children. So like some of them are blind, but some of them can kind of see, but not really well. But like it's a fucking underdog story. You're just gonna fucking like clown on it like that? Jeez. That's not like a wacky anime premise. I know. They thought it was wacky because they heard blind kids playing soccer and they're like, that's ridiculous. And then like you read the synopsis. Where is it? Okay, there's another one that had a synopsis that was more detailed, that was giving they kind of give like the whole plot away, and there was actually like things where the parents were concerned about like, you know, whatever. So of course it's this very boomer like, oh, blind kids playing soccer? That sounds dangerous. It's like, well, geez, give them a chance if they want to play soccer. It's more of like an inspirational story, if anything. Yeah, I was wrong. It's just some of their comparisons are so out there that I felt like they were making crap up just as they went along. Most likely. I guess to them, Inazuma 11 is also a Captain Tsubasa ripoff. Oh, let's find out. Inazuma, not to jump around a bunch. Inazuma. Let's see if they mention it. No, nope, they don't mention Captain Tsubasa in their article about Inazuma 11. Because they're too busy giving that big list of the movies and the sequels. Yep, you know. It's like, okay. On the DS. Okay. Well, that's enough of that. So, I mean, that was pretty spicy, I guess. It was more spicy, you know. Fairly spicy. It's like, I don't know, man. I don't know about that. I get where they're coming from. Where 2001, this movie is so fucking obscure. It's like on VHS one time. I get it. It's like it's impressive that it's in the book at all, right? Compared to how much like they've been able to cover the majority of anime in this. That was not great for humor. That was not a great. I get with including the two titles and stuff. There's the logic there, but it's still like, you know, it's like, I don't know about that. Especially the, you know, 3rd edition, but no one's gonna correct them on that because they're not reading the whole goddamn book like myself. Like, no one's heard of Fly Pegasus. When they open this, I've mentioned this before, when you get the encyclopedia, everybody, myself included when I first got it, you're gonna look up the anime you know and say, oh, what did they say about Aim for the Ace? Oh, what'd they say about Gunbuster? What'd they say about Slayers? You know, but when you look at a thing like Dash Shirkiro, I don't know what that is. So you're not gonna read it, right? Maybe you will. Maybe the title's a little appealing or something. I don't know. But like, you're not gonna read a lot of this stuff. It's fine. They're not expecting you to. It's an encyclopedia. Maybe I'm doing an oopsie or a wrong thing by reading all of it. Maybe I'm doing it the wrong way or something. I'm only supposed to be reading this casually. But, you know, otherwise we wouldn't get interesting things like this. I'm interested in this movie. I don't think I'll ever be able to find it or see it, but that's cool. Man, I'm starting to think that they'd say this soccer anime doesn't need to exist. We already have a Captain Tsubasa. It's interesting. I don't think I've yet to see them say this shouldn't exist because this already exists. I don't know if they've gone that far. But then I wouldn't put it past them either. That's the thing. Of course you're making those questions. I would be having those questions too, just like what I had with Peak earlier. Or something like that for any sports anime. I already have Joe, don't need Ippo. Like, they do say about Ippo that it's more lighthearted than Joe. So they're like, at least it's that. Perhaps. Didn't they say the same thing about For Fist and the North Star? I'm not sure what you mean, specifically. Again, lag. We don't need Yu-Gi-Oh! We already have card captors. Yeah. That's a little extreme. I think they know the difference between Yu-Gi-Oh! And card captors, at least. Ninja robots. Yeah, I mentioned this. The thing's like, why didn't you mention the localization when you changed the name? This is a nitpick, of course, right? I get to this article called For Real. I'm like, for real? Because I just think it's funny. And then the way it starts, where is it? Where is it? I'm scrolling forever. Scrolling for days. For real. So I'm like, for real? Maji is a young punk. Wait. Maji is a translation for what's the name of this show what's the name of this OVA in Japanese? Maji. The name of the OVA is the kid's name, Maji. So like, maybe I'm gonna notice that, but like like a casual viewer or something, like, why confuse it? Why don't you just call it Maji? Call the article Maji when it's his name. I know that and it says in the article that it's like his name is synonymous with loyalty and truth. And that's like the idea. That's kind of the funny thing about it or whatever. But like, why call the article For Real, and that when it's his name, you know, the title of the thing is his name, and that's part of the joke. You know what I mean? That's just a weird choice to me. And then Fushigi Yugi, yeah, we went over that. I mentioned the two good ones. Pop and Heal is, again, pretty good article. And there's just two that I was interested in. Fortune Quest. Fortune Quest was because of the one that they were saying that it's like inspired by Pokemon, or like it would go on to inspire Pokemon. Let's find that out. Let's check this out. Fortune Quest. L. I just like that. Let's just do the this first. Oh, look at how expressive this is. I really like that art. That's cute. And there's an alternate version. And there's a light novel. Light novel, yeah. And then there's an adaptation of it, which is this one. Look at that dude! Look at this dude! Look at the dude. Oh, look at this skeevy dude. That's cute. This looks like fun. Sweet. I wonder if it's available. Let's search this first. Oh, boop. Oh, perfect! And it's subbed. I want to do watch later on those. I'll click on those for a watch later. It looks cute. Episode 4. How many episodes is it? Oh, cool. 4. Okay. That's episode 1, 2, 3, 4. Yay! That just seems like a good time. Oh, hell yeah. And then there's a sequel. L, which is a TV show. That's right. I remember reading about that. Wow. That just seems like a good time. The main character is Toshiyuki Murakawa. Hell yeah. 6 and 7. Very few people have seen it though. Wow. Sweet. I like it. And then the other one was Foxes of Cheering Up. This is a movie. It just kind of sounded kind of kino, you know? Oh! Yeah! I think I had this raw at one point. I think I actually had this movie that, like, on my, like, download, and it was raw, I think. I didn't even realize that's what it was about. It sounds really cute. Let me read the synopsis to you guys. Fox of Cheering Up. Foxes Ken and Chin become the proud parents of cubs Koro and Kan, who enjoy a carefree life on the northern Japanese island of Cheering Up. They befriend a fisherman and his wife, but are forced to run for their lives when soldiers on a military exercise decide to take home some fox pellets as souvenirs. A sweet little film that obliquely symbolizes the plight of Japan's aboriginal Ainu people and the northern islands that have been contested with Russia since they were occupied by Stalin's soldiers in 1945. That looks great. A little couple historical significance, you know. Yes! Ooh! Ooh! Cool! Closed captions! Thank you, Ryan's Archive! Got some good stuff in here. Cheer no Suzel upscale. Ooh! Yo, if you guys haven't seen this, it's good. If you've seen Cheer no Suzel, it's good. They got Marine Express on YouTube. Okay. It's not great, but alright. Actually, though, damn, how'd they get this shit on YouTube? Gonna watch that sometime. Just have to know that that's there. They got some game stuff. Yeah, this is always the best part of the stream, isn't it? Finding this shit out. Sorry, I haven't been reading the chat lately. Let's read it. I think Yu-Gi-Oh! Predates Sakura, so it would be the opposite. Can't wait for Real Adventures of Sinbad, that popular shonen from mid-2010. I'm sorry I mixed it up. They implied in either their Gundam or Mazinger articles that we don't need more Real and Super Robot animes because they already did both. Oh, yeah, okay. For real is a direct translation. You probably know, but Majide is usually interpreted as really or for real. Maybe for real. Yes, for real would have been a better title. Yeah, I figure. It's just, I don't know. Majide, yes, for real. Yeah, perchance. AniDB has all subs if Fortune Quest L has dropped at 5. Oh well. I wasn't as interested in the show. If I like the OVA, I'll check out the show. But the OVA's cool. It seems subbed, so that's good. Yeah. Okay. Well, do suppose that's all I have for you. I got a little while. It's an hour and 24 minutes so far. So let's talk a little about Shonen Jump. Unless you have any other questions, like a open read, any article. Usually you guys don't, so we can just chill. Damn, the Cinnamon Roll movie on that channel has so many views. Oh, where? Oh, for real? Oh, wait, I've heard about this one, too. Ooh. Wait, what the fuck? There's some shit on this channel. Damn. I heard about that one earlier. That's right. Most popular. Oh, yeah, Cinnamon Roll. That's right. There's that other one. I remember reading about this one, too. Wait, was this by Yusabu Osugi? I don't remember. I think it was. Roll. Yeah, Cinnamon the movie. Cinnamon Roll the movie. Yeah, it's Yusabu Osugi. Oh, I'm watching that. Hell yeah. Manly. Anywho. Yeah. Let me talk about some Shonen Jump stuff. Let me pull up my Excel spreadsheet. Let me pull up my spreadsheet, okay? Okay. Here we go. It's not quite in a good state of completion right now. It's it's work in progress. Sorry, my face is in the way a little bit. It's okay though. It's just some like images and some links and stuff. Okay, so I was like, okay, I gotta the first thing I was trying to prove was like how prevalent was the sports genre in the 50s through 70s? How many baseball manga really were there? And so I was like, well, let's just get the list of all the Shonen magazine titles just from the 50s to 79. The reason I'm cutting it off at 79 is because I just want to know that window up to Kinnikuman. Kinnikuman is like that latest one, and then shoot, where is it? I'll explain the colors in a second. So I just wanted that window, right? And so at one point I was like, oh, let's try to calculate the number of issues personally and stuff. And this just got kind of so overwhelming because there's also, I was just doing Redux because like I wanted to see, I didn't check the Japanese Wikipedia, so this might be incomplete. I don't think it is, but we'll see. Shonen Sunday. So they have like the first issue and last issue, so we can roughly calculate how many issues it was. Although there are some that like didn't publish regularly, so it's not quite accurate. Somebody has, oh, the four. Okay. I was like, there's music coming from somewhere that's not Moomin. Hold on. Okay. Anyway, where was I? Let me get the chat back up. Database Animal? Yeah, pretty much. Shonen King I've not done yet, but there is a the reason that there's not like a definitive big list for it is because it went defunct at one point, but it does have some pretty significant titles in it. I just want to like make sure I include it. Shonen Champion, that was one of the because like that one only has a Japanese wiki one, and they have the date, the first issue, in kind of a weird notation, you know, a lot of links. I want to get like it was hard to get both the Japanese and because I want to have both. I want to be able to read it and also have this in case I want to like Control F's Google search like it's hard to come up like jump. Sometimes they don't show up, you know. Jump. Okay. Let's see. If you look up, you know, the author as well. It's a whole thing. It's a whole fucking mess that you do. Nice Ninku video. I knew of Ninku and its great animation for a while, but its relative obscurity and unexpectedly low mouse score gave me doubts. I'll try to watch it soon. Yeah, cool. It's a good time. Anyway, so of course that one's gonna be really hard to find because there's only 2 issues of it. Like, barely, good luck even getting an image of what this fucking show is about. It's what this manga's about, you know. Anyway, at first it was kind of ordered by first issue, but then when I did like this sorting based on how many issues they had, you know, it got kind of messed up. But I had to figure that out. I kind of get the right notation. I have to basically, it's a whole thing. I'm a mess. But there's a crazy good website that I found when doing this called jajanken.net. Jajanken. I don't know if you can see that. Yeah, you can't see that. I'll put in the chat. Jajanken.net. Okay. I've had Nico on my watch list because of Abe. Your video has moved it a few notches though. Oh, awesome. So this is a site specifically for Shonen Jump. I wish it was for other magazines too, but it is pretty much just for Jump. What you can do here, let's say, Derorinman. I usually have to, this is a Japanese site, you can't just type it in unless it's One Piece or something, like an actual, you know, English title or something. You gotta put the Japanese title in, Derorinman. And gives you the author, series, you know, number of episodes as well. By episodes I mean issues. Because there are instances where there might be a hiatus, like Hunter x Hunter, right? That makes sense. So you can't just do it kind of like on. I was like, oh, here's the first issue, here's the last issue, therefore it's this many issues. It's not necessarily the case. It can skip some. It skipped 36 and 37 in this instance, right? And there's also a ranking. You guys remember? I think this ranking is what Eyepatch Wolf cited. So it's interesting that this graph that I had to figure all this shit out when I first found it. Basically, this is the position in the magazine. I don't know if it's based on like the point at which the point at which it featured in the magazine, or I don't know where this is. Again, maybe it's explained somewhere. You know what I mean? But basically, yeah, you can kind of like get the whole history of it. There are some of these where it does say that there's an intro color page or a color page or whatever, and then what you can use is this other site which I've found. And then I found this a while ago for Slam Dunk, actually. It's been really awesome. Let me actually let it appropriate for a sec. Get it. Okay. Okay. Sorry. Just gotta do it in the right. Blah, blah, blah. Yeah. So this is Comic Vine. I don't know if you guys know about it. It has every issue of the majority. Maybe there's a gap here or there in the early editions, right? But you can also do Weekly Shonen Champion. A lot of different ones, like Shonen King I think has one. Yeah, Weekly Shonen King actually you can see all of the issues, as many as they have documented, right? There's some that they didn't, like number 18, 19. Yeah, they got pretty cohesive. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14. They actually pretty got all of them. This is pretty good. I know Weekly Shonen Weekly Shonen Magazine, they don't have quite all of them. They got the majority of them for sure. Anyway, so in Jump they have a weekly popularity poll that's private to the company, and we don't know the exact results, but it is known that manga are normally ordered close to their rank. The exception being on weeks where they have color pages, because the color pages have fixed locations in the magazine. Yeah. I figured there was a whole science and order to this sort of thing. So I don't want to make too much of a guess about the popularity of those things, but there does seem to be something to it, right? But yeah, you can just kind of look at 1969 issue 23. Kind of just go find that, basically. Was that right? 69 23. Issue 20. This one right here. Right? 1969 23. 23, 1969. 23. Yeah. You look at that cover. Sometimes it's not really the cover itself, it's just it has a color page, which is different. As I've discovered. It's not quite, fully accurate. But it's just really cool learning about all these different titles and putting a name and a face to these things. So magazine order isn't exactly the real rankings. It's very close, and the closest fans can get to knowing. Yeah. So it's been kind of all over the place in terms of what I'm collecting this for and where am I going with it, basically. I just want to get a sense of it. It's completely unknown to me, right? All the stuff before Kinnikuman and stuff. Like, I kind of know some of them, but not really. Like, I didn't know, for example, Mazinger Z only ran for 44 issues. It's not really that long in the magazine's lifespan compared to some of these other ones. So, using this site specifically, I went through literally all of them, highlighting and very tedious task, and listed how many issues they appeared in the magazine. And then I did this, clicked on this column, sort by that column, and looked at the longest running ones and see if we can find any patterns. Because is it right of me to think that the longer a series goes, it's relatively successful? I wouldn't say that Kochikame is it outsells One Piece. No, it doesn't technically. But there is something to be said about it continuing to go, right? It didn't get cut or kind of allowed it to exist. And the author was willing to do more of it, right? So there's a lot of factors and stuff, I imagine. But I think length is a decent qualifier of this is a fairly successful series, right? And potentially one that kind of influences the magazine going forward, in a way. So, Kinnikuman is the longest, but it's as of 1979, at the time, right? Toilet Hakase from 70, so keep in mind the Magazine started in 68, so this is very recently. Toilet Hakase from 70 to 76. It's a gag series. If you want to take a look at the visual here. And even through the Japanese wiki, when they describe it, it's like, yeah, it's a gag series. And, you know, what I would assume for gag series, the reason they can go for so long is that, you know, there's no plot continuity. You can just kind of do whatever. You can just make jokes and stuff. Yeah, they're making a heck of a jokes there. And they can just kind of keep it going, and it's no problem. It makes sense why they can do it for that long. Also, the style is relatively simple, all things considered, at least. So it makes sense to me why the majority of these longest ones, not majority, I suppose, that would be sports. A lot of these are gags. The 3 longest ones, you know. Gakuen, where's Harenchi Gakuen? Wait a minute. Harenchi Gakuen is definitely one of them. Oh, I think I labeled it as a... Yeah, so Gutsy Frog is there, Arashi Sambiki, Harenchi Gakuen, there it is. Yeah, and then Onadarake is like an ecchi comedy, romance harem type of thing, rom-com harem, that sort of thing, right? And then you have Manga Drifters. These are weird. I'm kind of happy they don't do this anymore, to my knowledge. I don't know how often they did this at this point. But like back then in 1970 when this came out, and this ran for kind of a while, 268 issues. So it's obviously really hard to fucking figure this out because of the other manga drifters. But this is what they mean. Drifters. So it's basically based on a live-action comedy group, Drifters. And so they have like... I don't know if this is exactly Drifters, exactly. But like it's a lot of this like caricature things. Yeah, Drifters. Yeah, like this. You know, and they're based on very particular people in like this comedy group, to my knowledge. Drifter is interesting. Yeah, so they had multiple of these kinds of series. There's this other one, Sorike Jump de Young O. And this is based on a variety show called Young O. If you look it up. Young O. You know? So there's some like little tie-ins like that. And this is definitely the one that was very obvious. This was based on a comedy duo. Manga Konto 55 Go. That thing looks kind of looks horrifying. The typo does make it kind of funnier. Yeah, like this. It's like, you know, I'm kind of okay that they kind of stopped doing that. You know what I mean? It's like, I get it. It kind of makes sense, but also makes sense why you don't see it so much anymore. You know? Like, it's like making a manga about Laurel and Hardy, you know? Or the Three Stooges. Like, okay. It's interesting. The new Jinja YouTube series looking lit. Oh, yeah. Yeah. Man. Alright, so there's all that. Now there's the sports series, which are all in blue or other blue. Basically, I was like, okay, this is a lot of sports. How many of these are baseball? All the the kind of the cyan are turquoise, I guess, are baseball. Baseball gag, baseball, but there's some really I'll talk about that in a second. Baseball, great, and then there's other sports. Kinnikuman is wrestling, Ring Nikakuro is boxing, Circuit no Okami is racing, and this one actually lasted kind of a while. It's one of those ones where you'll look up like the longest running jump manga, and they count it when it moves to another magazine, which I personally don't count. This moved to a seinen magazine and went for another 25 volumes or so. But this ran for, again, 230 issues, and then it moved to a seinen magazine. Tennis Boy, Hole in One, which, I'm sorry, I might be crazy, okay? I look at Tennis Boy, and I'm like, oh, okay. Okay, huh. I mean, is it really just me, or is it like I see it with like some of the other girl and Tennis Boy? It's like, is this ironic? Is this like a tomboy? Right? Like, I mean, am I dumb? Like, am I just thinking that's like, do I want it to be a reverse trap? Like, I'm sorry to use the word trap, but like, you know what I mean? Like, use like, oh, it's, you know, it's a tomboy, it's actually a girl or whatever. Am I right? Am I crazy? I don't know. It's not a tomboy. That's a dude. That is a dude. In fact, it is in fact Tennis Boy. I don't know why it just happens to be kind of. I don't know why it happens to be just kind of something about it. I think it's also he participates in doubles with another girl, with a girl. So he's with this other girl and he's fighting another guy-girl team. Okay, so that is a guy-girl team technically. You can't tell because it's long hair. Welcome to California. It takes place in Lake California. It's cool. But you know what I mean? Am I weird? This is Takeshi's challenge for NES too. Anyway. So there's a bunch of sports stuff. Then, before we get to the white parts, these green ones here are delinquents. Delinquent or bancho. Bancho was the kind of the term that I really wanted to zero in on because it really felt like it was being extra descriptive. So this just seems very shonen to me. You know what I mean? And I look up bancho, the Japanese term for that. So one of the positions of the Japanese decree system, it's also a type of person who's considered to be the leader of a bad boy group in Japan. Leader. Very shonen. Well, Candy Boy is a Yuri anime. I see. Yes. You know what I mean? So I think the way they're described, I haven't fully dived into it. But it's said to refer to the leadership of bad boys in junior high and high school. It seems it was named that because the original bancho is the head of an unreliable fellow because the commander of the escort excels in martial arts. Alternatively, it's said to be a word derived from the bancho of a former Japanese army. Girls' bancho is female sukeban. They're serious about their morals, they take good care of their children, and they never allow bullying by the weak. In addition, the big bancho, who reigns above the banchos and controls multiple schools, is the total number. Again, this is all This is all like Google Translate of this stuff. And Anime Hero had actually kind of a decent video about bancho. If you look up bancho on YouTube, he does talk about this trope a lot, and that's good. Although he really talked about it in a modern sense, like he's talking about like Kill la Kill, JoJo, Yasu, all these other things, right? That climate that's very Sakigaki Hojoku. But I want to go even earlier because there's Asterodon, Obara Ichidai. Let me show you what that looks like. Right? It's like, okay. Yeah, there's something very battle shonen-y about. Like, look at that. Okay. Yeah. You know? And then, of course, kind of the number one long-running, the one that's longer running than any of these. It ran for 160 issues. It started in the magazine, like issue 11, 1968, very early. And it does have an anime, and I think it is pretty much distinguished as the first Shonen Jump anime. The first one that was adapted into anime, except there's only 2 or 3 episodes that are available at all. So it's very, seems very Lost Media-ish. It's got a little bit, right? It's this thing. You've probably seen it around. Very kind of like, got that look to it. And he fights people. So like, there's definitely an element to this of the Delinquent series that, you know, it really, it's, and then you look at the covers for Shonen Jump magazine. I closed, yeah, I do have it. You just look at like the early ones. There's like a lot of the, like the very kind of like stoic, individualist, you know, kind of what the magazine would be like this is our guy, you know, very protagonist centered, I suppose. It's hard to define, I think, so far. I do want to read it. I'm gonna hopefully be reading the raws, like the raw chapters for Otoko Ippiki. So it's very much like sports, like, you know what I mean? Very, very classic, kind of like, feels like Shonen Jump is still doing that today. You know what I mean? That feeling. So it feels, oh, there's other ones that's kind of like this one. It's kind of like this cover, but there's some other covers that I'm like, oh my gosh, that's so shonen. I have to find it. I'm just gonna keep scrolling around because it's just cool to look at these. That's cool. But there's other series that I think definitely were battle shonens, quote unquote, as we retroactively kind of what we know of them today. But they were before Kinnikuman, way before. And I do think in part it's from that sports thing. Like a lot of sports do feel that way. You could definitely make that argument. But there's another one that I will talk about in a sec. But I do want to like, yeah. I want to find a particular one where it has like a profile like shot of all the characters. And you're starting to notice a lot of these cowboys here. Cowboy Isamu. The TV anime is directed by Takahata, if I'm not mistaken, which is really interesting. And so it wouldn't be, and that's raw. Like there's a whole series available like that, but that's raw. I'm probably just gonna read the manga first, just to get a quicker sense of it, basically. Yeah, you're starting to really get that feel. Like, oh my gosh, he's dominant in the manga, in the magazine, basically. I'm trying to find a particular one where it has all the profiles and it kind of looks like the Saint Seiya shot from the OP. A lot of Bancho characters in 70s shoujo shows. Oh, cool. Okay. See, here's the thing, right? Like, I know there's, like, influences from Gekiga, shoujo, seinen. That, like, those are definitely going to influence this stuff. But it's just nearly impossible to go through all of it. That's why, like, I nearly fucking broke my brain of just trying to do all the shonen magazines. Like, even just doing all the shonen magazines would be a lot, you know? It's still interesting, and I would want to dive into it more, but I just was like, you know, it's not bias. The way I read it, I wrote it in my script, because I'm not talking about other shonen like Fairy Tail and some of this whatever. Like, I'm making specific delineations and just focusing on Jump. It's not a bias, it's a concentration. I'm just trying to get as good of a picture as possible through one outlet. There's definitely going to be influences from other places, probably not even from manga. Like, you know, these guys can get influence from other stuff that's not manga, like TV, like Ultraman, right? Like, you know, Kinnikuman's parody of Ultraman. So there's no way they're going to be able to fully comprehend the whole thing, basically. And so then it's like, okay, well, try. Oh, this is what I was looking for. Look at that, dude. That's so cool. That just, like, I love that. You just get those vibes, you know? The different characters, they're facing something. I mean, obviously. But, like, you know, it gets those vibes, man. It's like the Saint Seiya OP. We'll read the chat a little more. Anime Hero's good. He's one of the first anime analysis channels I subscribe to. Hell yeah. Juvenile Delinquency is shown in spirit battling the system. Yeah, no, absolutely. The manga of that has been being translated by Hokuto no Gun. If you're looking for old Jump manga, check out the English and Japanese wiki pages of Famicom Jump and Cult Jump, two old crossover games that feature a lot of old manga series. I think they were like 60 chapters in last time I checked. First Bancho series, I mean. Oh, okay. Let's check. What was that one? Panama. What was the one that there were 60 chapters in terms of translating? Is it Otoko Ibiki? That would be one I'm most interested in for sure. Although there's other ones, of course. So there's this other one that Bronson wrote, the Hokuto no Ken author. He wrote a hard-boiled detective series, Doberman Deka. So that was interesting, and I have I'm looking into getting the raws for that. Here we go, Ajihei. So here comes Ajihei with, I think it's just a battle shonen. Like it literally is Food Wars, and I don't think anyone can deny that Food Wars is undeniably a battle shonen, and this just sounds, it's just fucking Food Wars. I'm not just going by covers. I really tried to look for the scans. I couldn't find any. I looked at like, you can order it on Amazon, and do like a preview, you know. And unfortunately, it doesn't give you too much. But then you look at the wiki for it. It describes the fucking like, there's cooking games, life-threatening special training, confrontation with rivals that appear one after another, and I think is regarded as the originator of cooking manga, is one of the oldest cooking manga. And then, so there's Mr. Ajiko. I didn't confirm this yet. I was like, wait, does that mean this came before those two? So, 86 was the manga for Ajiko, and Chuchika Ichiban, 95. Oh my gosh. Dude, this shit's 73. It's so much older than those. The one you said was the first Jump anime. Oh yeah, shit, yeah, Otoko Ibiki. Yep, that's the one. Cool. I have to look into that. Hopefully I remember. But yeah, no, this is just like the first cooking, like the originator of cooking manga. And it has battles, it has the training, the rivals. It's a battle shonen. Like it just is. You go to there's fucking arcs. There's the Curry War arc. Dude, this happens in fucking Food Wars. It's incredible. Kitchen knife trial. Like, it undeniable. I haven't read all of this. I'm so happy there's so much of it. It's tough because it's all, Google Translate, whatever. Like, oh my gosh. Ramen Festival. You know what I mean? There's a TV drama. I couldn't fucking find it. You know what I could find, though? If I did... Keeper Tambo. You know that fucking Black Butler track? Right Hand of God. Okay. I found... So this is the same video. This is literally the same video, except this one has transcribed... it's not a translation, but like the transcription. So instead of having to do it by ear, you have the text literally right there, and so it would be much easier to translate, potentially. And you have him talking about this series. Toshi Okada, if you don't know, is the Ota King, one of the founders of Gainax, and he has a YouTube channel. He's done it for a long time. This clip is from 2014, actually. The original video is from 14, and then they just re-uploaded this onto their Clips channel, basically. And they transcribed it, so you have the text right there. So he's talking about, like Devilman was out, Ashido Joe had just ended because it ended in 73, and then Ajihei came out in started in 73. So and then he mentions Coach Nahoshi. So he's talking about like the origins of shonen stuff, and I really think Ajihei has something to do with that. And he's talking about the author's previous work was a pachinko manga. This one right here. It's Big Joe is the name of the author, or the artist, either one, I don't remember. But like Big Joe literally is the name of the guy. It's crazy. Like it's Big Joe. It's crazy. I keep saying that. I'm sorry. Big Lock. He did the art. Okay, he did the drawing. Okay, cool. Yeah. So like that's so interesting. That's huge. Like it was just there, It's like where else could it have been? And I do think you could still make the argument that it is giving it the structure, the institutional structure of a sport. Like, you're making a game out of it, right? And they say in this thing here, it's like, oh, they kind of make this thing where it's not a game. Where is it? Yeah. They repeatedly mentioned cooking is for customers to eat. It is not a game or spectacle. You know, so it really is, it's interesting. It didn't last too long, right? It let it kind of long, though. Like, over 200 issues is impressive. You know? It's better than some of these other ones that are, like, way more well-known, like Harenchi Gakuen, Mazinger Z. And that's because they're made by fucking Go Nagai, right? Even these other ones, like Samurai Giants, it's because it's Iki Kajiwara, and it got an anime. Cobra got an anime by Dazaki, so of course it's also well-known, even though it doesn't have as many issues as some of these other ones down here, right? Interesting. I recognize that picture but don't remember the name. Weird the cooking series never got an anime. It seems so influential. Yeah, I don't know. Have fan translators touch the manga? No, I can't find the manga even scan. Like when you go to Anime Bites, which is a private only. I don't know if this is a good idea to show on. But like Otoko Ipiki, you can get the manga. You can get all 20 volumes of it. So I'm going to probably read that because that seems super important and like influential. My question now when it comes to like some of these series like Isamu, the cowboy one, where is it? Yeah, Isamu, which is cowboys. And you look at the covers, right, for Weekly Shonen Jump, like it looks crazy how like shonen-y is with the guns and the, you know, it feels like a contemporary battle shonen in that way. But if it doesn't act like one, if it doesn't have the same kind of structure and story and like the addictive qualities of a battle shonen, then that's tough. That ends up being a little more complicated. But if you look up fucking Ajihei, nothing. If you even look up the 200, if you look up the, usually if you do like Kinnikuman, if you do like this, if you just do the Japanese, it should show up. So if it's not going to show up with this, it's not going to show up. And to my knowledge, it doesn't. Nothing. So, the most I'm probably going to be able to do if I'm going to read any of Ajihei, which is weird because it just kind of translates differently, is read a bunch of this, which at least has a lot of information, which is great. Translate this video about Ajihei, or also purchase it on the Jump app. Not Jump app, but not like the Western one, but they have it digital. Where is it? This one? Where is it? I forget. No. I forget which one it was. But I could probably just get the digital copy. I wouldn't scan it or anything, but like, you know, if for reading basically, for what it's intended. Yeah. So I mean, this is obscure as shit. But that's huge. I think that's a huge find. And then this other one, Astro Kyudon. I was hearing that there's some real shonen-y stuff in here where like it's kind of notable for having very, very outrageous baseball physics and like weird shit. I don't know the specifics, but like you look at it, it's super hot-blooded and like crazy. That's a cool cover. There was one cover that's like, wow, that just looks fucking nuts. I forgot which one it was. That's a pretty good cover. And it looks like at least that it's fairly online. I think it's one of those that I could find on Anime Bites. What the fuck? What the fuck? I didn't see that before. What the shit? What the fuck? God damn, that looks nuts. Well, cause so you see, it's cause the art. What is he doing? He's doing it backwards. So like the superpowered aspect of Ring Nikakiro, I kind of think that this one predates it. I have a feeling that this is the one. I think it just kind of looks fucking insane. Like the guy looks like he has like fucking Saiyan hair. Swole ball. Oh, this is the one. Look at that. It's like it's just a fucking a little troll hair, but but he got like a Super Saiyan or something. Crazy. Anyway, missed opportunity to title the new video "Ninku walks so Naruto could run." Yeah, I suppose, but if I put Ninku in the title, it wouldn't have done well. The video wouldn't have gotten many views. Baseball. Okay, the manga I was talking about was Otoko Ippiki. Yep, that's the one I was talking about too. The first Jump anime and the yeah. I think it was the first 48 chapters are translated. All right, I gotta look into that. Hell yeah. Yeah. I think that's the extent of my findings so far. As much as I want to look at super into Ajihei, I can't access it. I'm pretty sure I don't have to look into Cobra. I'm almost positive that it's episodic. I mean, the show was. I don't know. I mean, maybe you could, because it's partially episodic. There's some little arcs here or there, I suppose, but it's not like arcs. I did look into, when I was doing this, trying to be more holistic with like, okay, where did this all originate? I will say Cyborg 009 definitely has a major influence here with Battle Shonen per se. It's got the full superpowered team, and it's got definable arcs, that sort of thing. Is the video doing well? Yeah, it's going pretty well. I thought I was happy that it got 1,000 views under 24 hours. Some people don't get, a lot of people don't get that. It's 3,000 for 3 days. I'm happy with that, honestly. Look at that preview. Hell yeah, dude. I'm pretty happy with this so far. It's not blown up, but I wasn't expecting it to. But I'm happy. I'm happy with that performance so far. Play ball. A lot of baseball though. I can definitely use this to be like, yeah, baseball is kind of the dominant, like sports, but particularly baseball usually does the most well. But I still do want to slowly go through and list, and it's going to get harder and harder the fewer issues there are, because that means fewer evidence of visual what the fucking manga is. Like, I don't know what Yachin's about, so I have to I have to do this. Images. Nope, not gonna show up. So I'm gonna have to go to Jump, go to Jujunken. No. Fuck me. Control copy. So this is the sort of tedious detective work I've been doing, where I'm just gonna do Yasan. Yep, like that, and then include the author. There we go. Okay. Yep, Sean. Yep, that's it. Alright, it looks like a gag series. A little slice, kind of like a comedy. Like Gutsy Frog or something. Okay. I mean, it does vary with the fucking crab. It's probably a gag series. Or you could also look it up by Yasumi. Wait, that's the author. Yeah. So you could kind of do some detective work like that. You know what I mean? That's what you gotta do. So I'm looking to do that for the rest of the Jump manga here from this period, so that I can really determine how many of them are gags, how many of them are sports, how many of them are this other thing, like some different. Not much sci-fi. There's a lot of different. If there was more sci-fi, I'd give it its own column, but there really isn't much. There's some weird stuff like police dog training. It's like, I don't know what is it, like a comedy? I don't know. Boy in his zoo, same thing. It's like, I can't really tell what it's supposed to do. That's okay. Like, fine. Barefoot Gen, I pretty much was like, that's just like a drama. I don't know. It's like a delinquent, you know, I don't think it's a delinquent series per se. You know, just trying to figure that stuff out. I wonder if Cobra manga has the same wild ending of the show. I don't know. Oh, sweet, congrats. Thank you, Hayden. I actually have the first few volumes of Cyber 009 from Tokyo Pop if you want to borrow. Actually, I ended up downloading the scans already for Cyber 009. So it has those 10 Tokyo Pop volumes, but they do have good scans. The Tokyo Pop scans in themselves are really bad, but I do have the same translation effectively. And then there's an additional 8 volumes that I have that are separate. Actually, Too Bad Cobra himself only has one good game. Yeah. Baseball was also pretty dominant in the gaming industry at the time. Oh, okay, cool. See, that's what I mean, like video games as well as like TV shows and other things like that. I know why. It's because of the Olympics in 1964. Weird lack of hard sci-fi in shonen manga despite space opera popularity in anime. I mean, this is 50s through 70s. But you're right, it's still kind of absent. But that's just Jump. Like, we had all the Leiji stuff. We had Tezuka with several sci-fi classics. And we had Ishinomori, of course, with Cyborg, as well as some other things. You know, it wasn't absent, per se. It's like horror. Like, there's only one mecha and one sci-fi, and then there's only one horror so far, and that's Derorinman. But Gegeki no Kitaro was popping off in Shonen Magazine in particular. Where is it? Gegeki no Kitaro, 188 issues, and then it moved to a different magazine. Gyojin no Hoshi. So, like, Shonen Magazine is huge, because it's this one and Sunday, specifically these two, that started the same day. At least on Wikipedia, they started the same day. At the same time, pretty much. 1959. And then came Shonen King, which I don't have too much info about. Again, it got discontinued in like the 80s, so there's not like the really hard list in the same way. It's not as well documented. And then Jump is obviously the most well documented because people care about that one the most. It's the, you know, most widely circulated. And that started in '68 as a competitor to Shonen Magazine and Shonen Sunday. And then Shonen Champion also was in 1969, a little bit a year after Shonen Jump, which is '68. So that's roughly the... And then there's others. I'm sure there's definitely a couple others in places, especially when you get later on in the 80s, 90s, 2000s. But I'm not looking anywhere in that area. I just want to know the origins, pretty much. So that way I can then build it off of Kinnikuman and Ring Nikakiro, which inevitably gives us Dragon Ball and Fist of the North Star. Mostly Dragon Ball. That actually reminds me, really interesting thing that the feature has here. Weekly Shonen Jump Past Major Works List. So they have every year, from 1970 up to this year, and the top 5. The average ranking of each work was calculated by year, and the number of issues in each year was divided into 4. And there's some other remarks at the bottom, kind of like, it only works with a publication rate of 60%, so Hunter x Hunter wasn't counted in some places, in some years, basically. You plan to publish this spreadsheet? Because I could actually use some more reading material. I don't know. It's not in any semblance of done right now, but I would definitely post it in like the description when I talk about when I bring it up in my Naruto video, hopefully. But we'll see. But this is interesting. One Kid Male General is Otoko Ibiki. It's that first shonen anime, basically. So there's the top 5 in those ways. What time am I at? Oh, I'm over 2 hours. Oopsie. That's okay. I just love talking about this stuff. And here's where Kinnikuman shows up. And Ring Nikakuro is roughly here too. So Ring Nikakuro comes out in 1977, and it's 5th. It's still pretty good. For how many series are out there, 5th is nothing to sniff at. Still 5th. 3rd. And Kinnikuman comes out this year, so this is the first year it comes up in that way. And then Refreshing Montero is a is a Bancho. It's a delinquent series. Let me show you. They ran for 84. Not too bad. Actually, sorry, it's sports. That's right. It's kind of sports, a little delinquency. You know, it's a blend. No. Okay. I think Refreshing Mantra was the one that I was thinking of, where it's like, that one's actually crazy. That one actually has some crazy shit happen in it. When you see recommended Pirates, Susume Pirates, that's also a baseball series. Don't worry. It's not like One Piece, Pirates in Jump before One Piece. No, it's a Kinnikuman, Dr. Slump, Kinnikuman, and Rini Kakuro fall all the way down here in 1980. I didn't even notice that there's a oh. This has a total of all the... Oh, in the 4 quarters. I see. So there's 4 quarters. Gotcha. And this is like an average of sorts. Cool. So there's even more detail if you do this drop-down arrow. Dr. Slump, Fumi. And the reason I'm doing this is to show you the shift here. So like Kinnikuman, you know, it doesn't even... It's like the bottom... It's not even... It doesn't even place in 1981. Is it even in here at all? No. Not even a little bit. Dr. Slump is killing it in his first year of publication. And it comes down to 3rd, and Kinnikuman's back. And then Kinnikuman just makes a great return in 1983. Before it's too late. Before Fist blows it out of the water. Next year, Dragon Ball comes out, already hits number 3. And then it's number 2. And then it's number 1. All the way until it stops publishing. 94. Dominates. First time it's ever... Like, the rest of these, you know, it's kind of contentious, because there's never really a single strong competitor. Dragon Ball, no question. Absolutely no question. And then for 3 years in a row, Slam Dunk is in 2nd. Roku no Dashi Blues also does pretty well. Dragon Quest, Yu Yu Hakusho. So here's the thing, 92 and 93, the same top 3. A big 3, if you will. Right? And then Dragon Ball ends. And Slam Dunk's is king. With Rurouni Kenshin, you know, I think, yeah. Looks like it's his first year of publication. So it just comes out of the gate also really popular. And then it takes the number 1 spot away because Slam Dunk ends in 96. And it's still got the number 1 spot. Now One Piece has started in 98. It just immediately at the top. Similar to Fist of the North Star, and I think, Kinnikuman starts 2nd. I think there's some that, like Circuit Wolf. No, I don't know. It's obviously like a big power move that just starts at 1st, and then it doesn't stop. It's been number 1 ever since, with the exception of 2005. Naruto actually beats out One Piece. One Piece was only dominant for one of those 4 quarters, and then Naruto was the other 3. So Naruto actually takes it over One Piece that 1 year. But you see this? You say Naruto starts up here. Bleach has started in its first publication, 2003, and then 2004. One Piece, Naruto, Bleach. Big 3. Big 3. Big 3. Big 3. Big 3. Each of these are like kind of... Gintama, Reborn, and Eye Shield, and Toriko a little bit. You know, they're just trying to like hand each other off like the other. But there's no stopping these guys. This is the big 3. And then in 2010, Bleach ends. Right? So now it's just those 2. Until whatever. But that's why they're the big 3. 2004, 2010. Dominant. Absolutely dominant. And Toriko, you know, claims that little spot. Ass Class, Hero Academia. You know, it still gets a little piecey in here. One Piece is still the king. You know what's that's really interesting? I just think it's good to put it in that perspective where it really is, there really is not ever been another instance of the big 3. There's no big 3 of the night. You could kind of maybe make the argument. There's Dragon Ball, Slam Dunk, but both of those only have the first half of the 90s. Even Yu Yu Hakusho only lasts until 93. It doesn't last that long. Hunter x Hunter doesn't really... Takes 2 of the spots, I guess. Rurouni Kenshin's pretty up there, right? But Dragon Ball also started in the 80s. In the 80s, you know, it has Kinnikuman for a lot of it. Dragon Ball, Fist of North Star. Saint Seiya's there too in places, right? It's hard to really give a determinate end. Bleach ended in 16. Ah, okay. So it ended all the way over here. So let's check this out under the hood here. Oh yeah, Bleach is back in the bottom 5 over here. The top 5, I mean. 5th place. Only for 2 of those instances. 2012? Naruto, yeah, of course. The same thing with Naruto didn't end in that time. Bleach is back here. Only once. Doesn't even show up. Let's check out Bleach, actually. Because this is based on these kinds of rankings here. You know, seeing how, like, it's very up in the top 5 spots over here. Number 1, 3, etc., etc. And then it takes this massive jump, this decline over here. And it has some cover pages in first issue, etc. But beyond that, yeah. This is probably what stuff that the kind of data that iPatchWolf cited in his Fall of Bleach video. It's not fully accurate per se. But yeah. I still don't quite know what the metric for these rankings are. Again, I still don't quite know. It's again, it's all This is all a Japanese site, so I'm not sure. Bleach ended in 12. It's saying here the manga lasted till 16. Bleach also began in 2001, so it's interesting that it wasn't until 03 that started beginning averaging ranking in top 5. The same thing with Naruto. It took a little while for it to, you know. I think so. Yeah, something like that. Oh, the anime, not the manga. Okay. I'm gonna study a bit. See you. Oh, good seeing you, Austin. Wait, 16? I thought it was 12. Damn. Yeah. Yeah. Still a hell of an impressive run. 703 chapters. That's insane. That's crazy. Look at that. Oh my gosh. No breaths from hell. Dum dum. Yeah, because a new chapter. Yeah. Does it still count that? Like, let's go over here. And then you take off hiatus. So they have this thing, right? They have this feature. So there's the last chapter from 2016. And then there's the next chapter over here in 2021. That's cool. Never got the whole fuzz about the big 3 argument that a lot of people were insisting on. Yeah, that's why I'm talking about it. That's where this is coming from. It's because this is a really incredible stretch where the 3 biggest ones are the same and they're going year after year after year after year. Where a lot of these are going 1, 2, 4, you know, they don't last nearly as long as even Dragon Ball or Slam Dunk, which are even more popular even back then. You know, it's just insane, this sort of longevity, basically. But then, yeah, so that's kind of a miracle. But then, yeah, at the time, all 3 of these stories are really interesting and fun, and a lot of people are reading them at the same time. And there's kind of a inevitable comparisons of the 3 of them, which is not fair and not warranted, really. It kind of led to a lot of infighting, right? If the rankings are literally the order in which the series appear in the magazine every week, which isn't necessarily the order in the popularity rankings, but most of the time it's close. Like, I've heard some people complain about there not being a big 3 right now, and I'm like, just read something good instead of wasting your time arguing about nothing. I get it. It's because they want this feeling of, like, there's like an echelon. It's kind of weird where it's just one piece dominating, and then who is it gonna be type of thing. Fans, you know, they're very simple-minded in that way, in a good way. Like, I don't know, in a way that's like I'm not trying to be derogatory, basically. I think it's great that you have so much variety. You get to choose all these different stuff, you know. Hey, there's Chainsaw Man. Damn, it only showed one time. That's crazy. Chainsaw Man right there. And that whole time. How to win. One Piece, Naruto, and Bleach, and like all of them. That is correct. That is correct. And in fact, even better, at least the way I did it, I really like that I watched Bleach first, and then Naruto, and then One Piece. Because if I did it the other way, I don't know how much I would have liked Bleach. I would have been like, yeah, but One Piece is really good though, you know? But I really like that. I really like Bleach. Wow, I like Naruto more than Bleach. Wow, I like One Piece more than Naruto and Bleach. And there's no infecting in comparison or anything like that. Because it doesn't matter, because I'm watching One Piece and I'm loving it. And I'm not retroactively disliking Naruto or anything like that. I'm actually liking Naruto still a whole lot. Because it's its own thing. That's how you do it. Yeah, I'm pretty sure the site is just evaluating table of contents placements, which doesn't always reflect a series' popularity in the case of certain series. Exactly. Like, Jesus Christ. Fucking Police Box Kochikame. 1,965 chapters. Look at this. Look at this. You can't even... Oh my gosh, you can actually scroll in all that far. Look at that. Wow. There's really no telling, you know? This is really this long period between 1989 and 1992. It didn't even show up all that often. It was really not too prevalent. It was prevalent a couple more times. You know, kind of in the middle of sorts. It did its thing, you know? It's the predominant example of, like, it doesn't matter. Like, the popularity doesn't mean it gets axed or whatever. It's up to the author of whether they want to keep writing it. And if the guy wanted to keep writing it, that's awesome. You know? Bleach has insane drip. How does the drip in One Piece and Naruto stand up to Bleach? I actually like that One Piece, they actually wear a lot of different clothes in the show and not like on promotional art. Like Bleach, yeah, the drip is impeccable, but they don't really wear any of it in the show. A lot of the time they're just wearing the uniform, like the gi guys, right? Like they're not actually wearing that drip. Like the gi guys are cool, but they're not like the Bleach drip that you kind of familiar with, right? Whereas One Piece, it's good drip, and they wear it like in the context of the show. Like they change their outfits, you know. And Naruto, yeah, it's similar where they kind of have the one thing, but that they don't even like tease the other drip really. But I will say it's kind of cool. Like their outfits are pretty neat. It's not like the you know, I would say it's the least out of the three of them probably. Since I wasn't into Naruto, I feel most of my love for Bleach as a kid may not have existed if 4 kids didn't get One Piece. Maybe. Thankfully, I'm way past. You know, I haven't experienced any of them, and so it's not tainted really. One Piece is really good. You should check it out. Anywho, whew, that's a good time. And that's kind of the extent of the stuff I've been looking at these days and things like that, and the whatever. Oh, I didn't know that. Yeah. I still would have liked Bleach, but I didn't know if I would have been my go-to anime for years. Yeah, for sure. Yeah, usually this is the music I use to kind of, it happens to be the last track that it ends on and things. In 2.5 hours or so. I'm gonna have to log off. Hope you guys had a good time. If you have any questions or, you know how to reach me. I'm not gonna be like, no questions, please. But I'm gonna cut it off. It's good seeing you guys. Especially gag series are not expected to do well in the popularity polls. Jump likes having them, and we'll keep them over more mid-ranking battles here. Oh, exactly. They just want the variety. Oh, absolutely. That makes sense. If I were to watch one of them, I would have watched Bleach for the drip, but I guess One Piece is better. Yeah. This is just what it is. Also, popularity matters a lot for whether a Jump series is axed. Most are axed before 20 chapters. No, exactly. Early on. It absolutely matters early on. And then there's that certain threshold. It could be 20 chapters. It's weird. Where there's like, okay, you're definitely in the clear. You can write as much as you want now. With some exceptions, right? There's a good chunk. And then it gets to like in the 40s or 50s where it's like, okay, you've been in the magazine for a year. You've lasted a year. That's pretty good. Yeah, I'm going to end the stream there. Good seeing you guys. Yo, peace. I'll hopefully see you next week. We're going to go through G. I will say that I was considering kind of like doing something different with this. I just love streaming and stuff. Maybe I use this as an opportunity to chill and talk about what I'm working on and this sort of thing that I just did for maybe half the stream. So that was a good time. Maybe I'll do that. One Piece is the best. Bleach is good in the beginning, but tapers off in the midpoint. Can't speak for Naruto. I've never cared for it. You should try it. Naruto's really, really good. We'll see. Alright, sorry. Yo, peace.